were invited to the 2 o'clock meeting in the cafeteria, please come down at this time. Thank you.
Check, check, check.
Welcome to Rosten Reviews.
Perfect. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Rosten's Reviews. We're here for Season 3, and I know it's been a little bit of a delay. However, we are back now. I'm excited to see you. I'm happy to be here, and welcome to the first episode of Season 3 of Rosten's Reviews. My name is Mr. Rosten, and for those of you that don't know, I am the Cluster 6-1 Social Studies teacher here at BMS, and it is awesome to be here with you to review what we did in Social Studies this week. Now, I know that some of you are new to the channel, so remember, excuse me, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, make sure you drop a like on the video so that way you will know whenever I go live, which just so happens to be every Friday at 2 p.m. And this is where you can come in, you can come see what's going on in my room. Hello in the chat, what's going on? And this is where we review what we did so that way you and your folks or your guardians or whoever takes care of you knows what is happening in my classroom. So, we have a list of things to do. Look, big list. So let's start going to it, all right? What can you expect from Rosten Reviews? Well, you can expect a quick review, 10 to 15 minutes, over what we did over the course of the week in social studies. I'll be reviewing the different skills that we learned, like annotation, like analyzing primary and secondary sources, like if we're doing a historical investigation like we are right now, going through and learning about reviewing what we learned about our historical investigation. It really is just a way for you to remember what we did this week and to keep yourself on track and on pace to be as successful as you can. Again, we are live every Friday at 2 p.m. The time might change in the year if we get changed to a different schedule because, you know, as of right now, we're on full distance learning. We're making that transition to hybrid. If we ever go back to full and we go back to a regular schedule, the time will obviously change, and I will let you all know that in class beforehand. All right? So, let's get going with our week in review. So what did we review this week? Well, hello. So what did we learn this week in social studies? Well, we did two things this week, right? First, we analyzed artifacts from Otzi the Iceman, all right? And that looks something, and I'll bring it up in just a moment. But we analyzed artifacts, right? There was about 10 artifacts found with Otzi, and we analyzed them. And remember, there are 3 steps to analyzing artifacts. Step number 1 is we meet the artifact. We try to figure out what the artifact is made out of. Why? Because it tells us what time period in history we are looking at. And that's super important because we need to know what time period we're looking at in order for us to make the correct inferences in the latter part of our analysis, okay? So, we meet the artifact, we figure out what it's made out of. The second thing we do is we observe the artifact, okay? Hi, Daisy. What's up? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, kiddo. All right, so what's the second thing we do? Is we observe it, right? We look at the size, shape, color, texture, if there's anything written on the artifact, okay? Where you are trying to explain the artifact as if you were explaining it to someone who can't see it, all right? You want to use those details, those adjectives to really explain what you are looking at, all right? And again, it can be as simple as the size being small, medium, large, or extra large. As far as color goes, it can be as simple as saying one color, like black or blue or tan or gold, or it could be more intricate, like it's black on the top with some gold on the bottom, or it's brown and gray, okay? Then the third step is trying to make sense of it, right? And we as historians and archaeologists are trying to answer 3 questions. 1, what is it? What are we looking at here? What is this artifact? Okay? 2, what does it tell us about the people who used it? Okay? 3, and last but not least, is there a similar item to today? All right? Now, you might be asking yourself, Mr. Rosten, why do I need to answer those questions? Well, that's called synthesizing your information, okay? You're using your prior knowledge of the time period or event that we're studying. You're using the new evidence you've gathered so far, so you're meeting the artifact and your observations, and you're taking all of this stuff that's in these big old brains of yours, and you're coming up with some inferences or educated guesses to answer those questions, okay? And remember, when we answer those questions in our artifact analysis on step 3, we are using the TTQA format. And does anybody remember what TTQA format is? No? Well, that's okay. TTQA stands for turn the question around. So if the question is, the first question, what is this artifact, or what is the purpose of this artifact, you would answer it by, the purpose of this artifact is. Okay? Or for the second question, what does this tell us about the people? Again, you turn the question around. This artifact tells us about the people that, and you answer the question. Last but not least, is there a similar item to today? Turn that question around. A similar item to today is, okay? It's a strategy that you are going to use in social studies for the rest of your middle school career. And I guarantee you can use it when you go to the high school, you can use it when you go to college, you can use it at your job. There is a plethora of ways for you to turn the question around, okay? So, we did our artifact analysis, right? We took 2 days to do it because it was only your second time analyzing artifacts. Okay? So, sorry, I was just looking at the chat and one of my students is talking about his sneaker channel. Yes, Otzi the Iceman, yes. You spelled Otzi wrong though, bro. It's O-T-Z-I with that little umlaut on the top. All right? But anyway, so it took us 2 class periods to analyze artifacts because it was only your second time and we needed a little more time. And that's okay. Sometimes this is gonna happen, all right? We take a little extra time. But then on Thursday and Friday, which is red, orange, yellow was Thursday, and green and blue was Friday. We then did an artifact analysis reveal, okay? So I gave you the information, I told you what it was, and we revised and edited. And we talked about what revise and edit means, right? Revising means to make changes to, so we made changes to our original analysis, and then we edited our original analysis by filling in a new graphic organizer with the information that we learned. So let's take a look at what that looks like, okay? So just give me a moment here. And we're going to transition. Boom. There we go. All right. So our artifact analysis reveal looks something like this, right? You had all the artifacts on the left. That second column, what was it? The third column, what is it made of? And then the last column, we discussed what Otzi used the item for. So we found out that the first artifact we looked at was a container. It was made out of birch bark and lime tree bast, and we learned that he held fire starters in it. So what does this tell us about the people? Is that we learned that they knew how to make fire. We learned that they knew to save the embers and to get some fire starter, like leaves, right? It said in the reveal that it talked about having maple leaves, and he was able to start a fire very quickly. All right, so that's something cool that we learned about the people as well as Otzi. We also learned that he had pants, right? They were made out of leather and sheep and goat hide, and we learned that he was obviously using them to keep warm in the Alps. Okay. So we did that. Then we learned about his bearskin cap, right, which we talked about was he wore it for warmth because when you're climbing in the Alps and the mountains, it can get cold up there, so it was good to have the old head nice and warm. And then the last but not least, we learned about his arrows, right, and we learned that they were made out of flint and wood, and that Otzi used his arrow for hunting and for protection. Now, something that only a few of my classes brought up was, is they said, Mr. Rosten, why is he using flint? Why isn't he using, like, metal, like copper? Well, this tells us that the people during Otzi's time period weren't necessarily ready to make, weapons and tools in mass production in metal. They were still learning how to smelt it and make it into, certain shapes and sizes and things of that nature. So they wanted to make sure that, they had something reliable, which was the flint. They had the rocks there. They were able to make it sharp, and they were able to use it more frequently. All right, so let's jump to the next one. We learned about his jacket and his coat. It was made out of leather. Leather holds in the warmth really well. And again, he needed this because he's traveling in the Alps and the mountains, right? It gets cold up there sometimes. All right, the next thing, and this is something that we should all keep in mind during our investigation, is this copper axe, okay? The axe was made from copper and stone and string and wood, all right? And archaeologists have made the assumption, or the inference, if you will, that he used this as a tool because obviously, he needs to chop down some trees. He needs to, use it for protection, all right? And so he used this metal axe for a purpose, okay? And it's something that we want to keep in the back of our heads, all right? Next, we had the flint dagger, okay? Obviously, it was made out of flint, string, and some wood. He used it as a tool to skin animals. He used it as a weapon in close combat. He had the retouche, which was made out of lime tree bast, lead, and an antler. He used it to sharpen his tools, so now we know how they sharpened the flint and how they sharpened the copper during Otzi's time, is they used this retouche to get it done. All right, the last two things we learned about were the bird belt, right, or the stone disc. Excuse me, I need a drink. Excuse me, my bad. So good. All right, so we learned about the bird belt, right? We learned that it was made out of rope and lime tree bast and marble. We learned that it was used for bird hunting, so that when he would shoot a bird with an arrow or get up close and knock it with the axe, he would tie the string around the head, clip it to his belt, keep walking, moving on. Genius move, if you ask me personally. All right, and then last but not least, we learned about his shoes. He had some shoes there. They were made out of string, dry grass, deer hide, and fur. So obviously, based on that, we know that the fur was inside of the shoe, which kept his foot warm, and it also kept it dry from the wet grass and the snow and other things of that nature. And it would also protect his feet while walking. All right, so that's what we learned in social studies this week. All right, we learned about Otzi. We learned about his... And I'm transitioning back. Hello, friends. We learned about, what it tells us about the people, okay? And it's all things that we need to keep in mind when we are going through with the rest of this investigation, okay? So, what is next on the agenda is next week's a big week. We're making the transition. We've been on full distance learning since August, a good 6 weeks, okay? And now we're making the transition into a hybrid model. So what does that mean? That means that there are two cohorts of students, okay? You have A group or orange or blue group. A is blue, B is orange. Okay? Sorry, I am currently taking things out of the chat because some of you are not behaving appropriately. And so it has to go. All right? My apologies. Okay, so Where was I? Hello, Mrs. Prendergast. I'm live. Give me like 2 seconds. Thank you. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hybrid. So what does that mean? That means we're going to be in cohorts. So there's going to be 2 groups of students. One that come in on A days, or A, which is blue, and B, which is orange. So the A kids are coming in on Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, everybody's at home for a deep cleaning. And then Thursday, Friday, the B group comes in, or the orange group. And then we go for Thursday, Friday, all right? And it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some challenges, but we're going to get through it together, all right? It's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to be patient with one another. We're going to have to figure some things out. We're going to have to figure out some workarounds. And obviously, we're going to have to, remember that we are a family here. And we are going to, the goal is to keep everybody up, right? We want to keep everybody up. We want to have, a good time here at school. We want to make sure that we are learning, but there's also is some room for fun. So we want to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to lift each other up and be awesome sauce, because that, at the end of the day, is what is most important, is being awesome sauce, like me. Awesome sauce all day, baby. All right. So, in conclusion, you did it. Give yourselves a round of applause. You have made it through 7 weeks of school, 32 weeks left till summer vacation. It's going to be awesome sauce next week. Next week, we've got some big things going on. There is going to be a little transition period here, so Otzi is going to put a little bit of the brakes on, but we're still going to do some fun activities with him, get him learning, and that's really all I got for you today. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, it was an awesome week in social studies. We learned a lot about Otzi the Iceman. Hello, friends. How's it going? And remember, be kind to one another. Bring each other up. Don't bring each other down. Everybody's going through something right now. It's crazy out there in the world. Let's try to be kind, be respectful, have fun, do things the right way, and, that's all I got for you this week. I hope you have a great week. Remember, if you need me, shoot me an email, send me a private message on your assignment, and I will get back to you ASAP. I'm very excited to finally see some of you in person on Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday. Make sure to bring a mask. Don't forget to bring an extra one just in case, and I will see you all next week. Be kind to one another. Peace be with you and with you. Rosten out.